After 30 years of living as a neglected wife for Bolu, I was reborn. In my past life, Bolu was dissatisfied with this marriage and abandoned me right after the wedding, resigning from his job to start a business in another city. I thought that everyone has a heart of flesh. If I treated him well, he would one day see my goodness. I kept the home for him, taking care of his bedridden parents for over 20 years on his behalf. But in the end, I discovered that Bolu had secretly rebuilt a family with his first love behind my back. I tearfully demanded to know why he would treat me this way. He looked at me with utter disdain, as if I were worthless dirt beneath his feet. Myra Yi, how could you ever think I'd remain faithful to a woman like you? A woman with no education or manners. Do you even deserve it? At that moment, my heart turned to ashes, so all my lifelong devotion was just a joke. If given another chance, I would choose to let him go and walk out into my own splendid life. Dazed, I opened my eyes to see the room before me plastered with red double happiness symbols. A half-torn calendar hangs on the white wall, displaying the date, June 20th, 1986. Seeing this date, my heart ached with a dull pain. It turns out I've been reborn back to the day I married Bolu. I knew that early tomorrow morning, Bolu would announce that shocking decision to the whole family. He decided to quit his job as a worker in a machinery factory to start his own business. It was this decision that changed my life forever. After resigning, he would start a business selling clothes with his first love, Lena Lynn, and become the king of the clothing industry. Then, the two of them naturally and secretly got back together. Yet, I was left as the fool bearing the title of Bolu's wife. I kept a living widowhood for him for 30 years, and on top of that, took care of his extremely difficult paralyzed parents for over 20 years. Thinking of this, my heart aches violently again. In my past life, I worked like a slave for the Bolu family, only to be treated so poorly by him in the end. It's really not worth it. This time, I'll let Bolu and his first love have their way. Let his delicate sweetheart, who's never lifted a finger for household chores, take care of his soon-to-be bedridden and difficult parents. I won't be the good daughter-in-law anymore. Knowing Bolu wouldn't return that night, I pulled up the covers and fell asleep. Perhaps because I had made up my mind, I slept exceptionally well that night. No longer was I as anxious and insecure as in my past life. Early the next morning, when I opened the door, I saw Bolu and his parents already sitting in the courtyard, as if I had never left. At just over 22 years old, his face carried the youthful vigor unique to young men. With sharp eyebrows and starry eyes, his refined and handsome features had the charm to captivate at first glance. Upon seeing me, his handsome brows suddenly furrowed. Those eyes that were always brimming with laughter are now filled with warning. Seeing him so guarded, my heart ached with a dense, throbbing pain once more. Though I told myself not to love him anymore, not to care about him, but after loving him for so many years, following him and caring for him seems to have become my habit. I lowered my head and smiled self-deprecatingly. This habit is really not good. Now, I will change it. I know he's afraid I'll tell his parents that he wasn't home last night, but I've already decided to part ways with him, so of course I won't say anything unnecessary to annoy him. Besides, what difference would it make even if I did speak up? Bolu's parents never make decisions for me, and they also think that a country girl like me marrying their son is already an incredible stroke of luck. So what if I have to endure some grievances? When Bolu's parents saw me, their expressions were far from pleasant. I knew these difficult parents of Bolu were about to assert their authority as in-laws. Having already made up my mind to part ways with Bolu, I didn't want any complications now. So I walked over and obediently apologized to his parents, saying, "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry for waking up late. I'll go make breakfast right away." Bolu's mother snorted coldly. "What's the use of marrying a daughter-in-law? She knows how to sleep in on the very first day. Might as well starve this old woman to death. Bo, you'll have to teach your wife properly from now on." Bolu had a guilty conscience and didn't dare say anything. His mother scolded me a few more times before finally letting me go to the kitchen to cook. Throughout the whole process, I kept my head down and didn't say a word. Seeing me like this, Bolu's eyes were full of surprise. As if he couldn't understand why I didn't take the opportunity to complain. Didn't I care about him the most before? Even if he came home a little late at night before, I would make sure the whole courtyard knew about it. I ignored him and went to the kitchen to cook. Only the probing gaze behind me lingered on my back for a long time. During breakfast, Bolu indeed announced the decision that shocked the entire family. "Mom, Dad, I want to quit my job and go into business with Brother Huang." Upon hearing this, Father Lu flew into a rage. "Have you lost your mind? You'd rather give up a stable worker's job to become a self-employed individual? Do you know how many people out there are desperately trying to secure a government job, and here you are wanting to walk away from it? Besides, that so-called Brother Huang from Guangdong is all talk and no substance, smooth talking and unreliable. How dare you even consider going into business with him?" Hearing his father's words, Bolu said unhappily, "Brother Huang was introduced by my high school classmate Lena Lin. How could he be unreliable? Dad, you don't know the situation, so don't talk nonsense." Father Lu was furious. Lena Lin is just a young girl. What kind of insight could she possibly have? Seeing his father speak ill of the person he loved, Bolu lowered his head and began to sulk. Seeing this, Mrs. Lu advised, "Bo, don't do anything reckless. What's so good about going into business? Staying in your job is much more stable and secure. Besides, you and Myra just got married. How would you even have time to start a business?" Hearing his mother mention me, Bolu shot me a glare and said disdainfully, "What's wrong with being married? Does marriage mean a man can't pursue his ambitions? How can a real man be held back by a woman? Look at all the people doing business now. Who isn't making a fortune? If I don't jump in soon, it'll be too late." At this point, Bolu glared at me resentfully. "Myra Yi, let me tell you, don't hold me back, or I'll hate you for it." I sneered inwardly. "This time, I won't be the one to stop you. Go ahead and do business if you want to. None of my business." In my past life, I listened to his parents and persuaded him, preventing Bolu from doing business with that Brother Huang introduced by his first love, Lena Lin. He resented me for a long time. I made him miss a golden opportunity to get rich for nothing. Although it was later proven that Brother Huang was just a fraud, and everyone who followed him into business suffered, he still didn't appreciate me. So this time, let him be, respect others' fate. After seeing him get scammed by Brother Huang, whom Lena Lin introduced, would he still be as close with Lena Lin? Would he still, as in the previous life, say without any reservations that Lena Lin was his destined confidant and benefactor? Thinking of this, I put down my chopsticks. "Mom and Dad, I support Bo's decision." "What?" 3 incredible voices sounded simultaneously. I paused for a moment before continuing. "Bo is an adult. I believe he has his own considerations for whatever he does. Besides, times have changed. There's nothing wrong with going into business." As soon as I said this, the Lu family looked at me as if they'd seen a ghost. Especially Bolu. Since I came to the city to work half a year ago and met him, my fiancé, I've been sticking to him like glue, wishing I could see him every moment. He really couldn't understand why I would actively agree to let him go to another city for business this time. But before Bolu could figure out what was going on, Mr. Lu abruptly threw down his chopsticks and left behind a furious remark. "No means no. Anyone who dares mention it again will have their legs broken." This time, unexpectedly without my persuasion, Bolu still didn't make it. After Father Lu left, Bolu's mother also left with sighs. Only Bolu and I were left at the dining table. He looked at me and suddenly sneered. "Myra Yi, don't think I don't know what tricks you're playing." I looked at him in confusion. Not understanding what he meant, Bolu quickly answered my doubts. "I didn't expect you to learn so many cunning tricks after just a few days in the city. This tactic of retreating to advance is quite well used. You deliberately agreed to let me resign and start a business, actually just to provoke my dad into getting angry and disciplining me, so I couldn't go into business with Brother Huang. Myra Yi, you're truly disgusting. I will never like you." The look of disgust in Bolu's eyes reminded me of the day I died in my past life. He had looked at me with the same expression back then. I dug my nails deep into my palms to suppress the searing pain tearing through my chest. Then, I spoke the words I had wanted to say ever since my rebirth. "Bolu, let's get a divorce." Bolu suddenly raised his voice. "What did you say?" Suppressing the bitterness in my throat, I said earnestly. I said, "Let's get a divorce. I know you've always looked down on me. You're a high school graduate and a city person, while I'm just a country girl who only finished middle school. I've thought it through. Tying two such mismatched people together through marriage isn't fair to either of us. Since that's the case, it's better for us to part on good terms." Bolu snorted coldly. So you do know you're not worthy of me? At least you have some self-awareness. But the next second, his brows furrowed deeply again as he glared at me in frustration. Myra Yi, I don't know what game you're playing now, but you actually said you want a divorce. Not even a ghost would believe that. Is it really fun to mess with me like this? Hearing this, I looked at Bolu earnestly. I'm not playing games with you. I mean it. If you don't believe me, we can go get the divorce certificate right now. Bolu looked at me with confusion, as if trying to see into my heart. I let him look, my eyes filled with nothing but honesty. Yes, I want a divorce. I want to leave the Liu family that trapped me for 30 years in my past life. I just wanted to know, after I left, when Lena Lin became the Liu family's daughter-in-law, would she do better than I did in my past life? My performance was flawless. Bolu couldn't detect anything. He withdrew his gaze and smirked coldly. I don't know what kind of trick you're playing, but those were your own words. Let's go get the divorce certificate right now. Whoever dares to go back on their word shall die a horrible death. Whoever dares to go back on their word shall die a horrible death. These words are truly heartbreaking. Fortunately, I've already started not caring about him. Besides, I'm truly determined to divorce him. Why would I ever go back on my word? Bolu was really afraid I'd change my mind. He threw down his chopsticks and dragged me to get the divorce certificate. Coming out of the civil affairs office, Bolu was all smiles holding the divorce certificate. I never thought you'd actually go through with it and get the certificate with me without backing out. Myra Yi, you've changed your ways. I smiled self-deprecatingly. There was no change at all, just don't love anymore. Bolu was in a good mood and didn't get annoyed when he saw I wasn't speaking. He said gleefully, Myra Yi, you were the one who brought up the divorce. When you go back to pack your things later and see my parents, you better say the same thing. Don't try to pin this on me. I nodded. Don't worry, I'll tell the truth. Bolu walked away with the divorce papers in hand. From the direction he was heading, I knew he was going to share the good news with Lena Lin, the sales clerk at the department store. He really does like Lena Lin. But unfortunately, Bolu's parents don't approve of her. They think this young woman is too strong-willed and hard to control. That's why, disregarding Bolu's feelings, he married me, a rural girl who had a childhood betrothal with him. Now that I'm no longer an obstacle, they should finally be able to be together, right? Upon returning home, Bolu's mother glared at me with icy disdain. Myra Yi, so you still remember to come back? On the very first day, you already know how to slack off. You didn't even bother to make lunch. If I'd known you were such a lazy good-for-nothing, I should never have let you step into our home. Again, the same old story. This old lady, whether in her past life or now, has always taken advantage of her status as a mother-in-law to control me at every turn. Even though in my past life, I worked like an old ox to care for her and Bolu's father, who had been bedridden since a car accident, for over 20 years, she never once spoke a kind word about me. She would nitpick and scold or even hit me at the slightest provocation. But now, I'm no longer his daughter-in-law, no need to put up with her temper anymore. I know many people in the yard are pricking up their ears to listen to our conversation right now, so I looked straight at her and said, Aunt Liu, are you having lunch at 10 o'clock already? Liu Cuifeng was taken aback. What? I continued, no matter how well off the Liu family is, they can't handle this kind of extravagance, eating like this. How many meals a day do you need? Even if you can take it, the rice bucket at home can't. Phut, what a rice bucket indeed. Someone in the crowd nearby couldn't help but snicker. Liu Cuifeng flushed bright red and pointed a trembling finger at me, saying, Myra Yi, how dare you call me a glutton? Utterly disrespectful, and you actually addressed me as Aunt Liu. Such rudeness and lack of upbringing. I should have just let Bo marry Lena Lin. At least she's a high school graduate. Far more cultured and refined than you, a mere middle schooler. Kneel down and apologize to me. Or I'll make Bo divorce you. Watching Liu Sufang act so imperiously, I couldn't help but find it amusing. She still thought I was the weak and helpless orphan girl she could push around in my past life. I said coldly, Aunt Liu, there's no need to trouble yourself telling Bo Lu, because we're already divorced. As I spoke, I took out the divorce certificate. See, we just got our divorce papers. Now that I'm no longer your Liu family's daughter-in-law, I won't be able to help you with cooking, laundry, or cleaning anymore. Liu Cuifeng was dumbfounded. What? You really got divorced? Good riddance. Let's see who would want you now that you've left such a fine young man like our Bo. Hearing this, Father Lu hurried out of the house, took the divorce certificate from my hands, and examined it carefully. The divorce certificate bore a bright red seal, unmistakably genuine. He looked at me in disbelief and said, "Myra, my girl, was it that Bo who forced you into this, right?" I shook my head and told the truth. "No, I came to realize it myself. Bo doesn't like me, and forcing ourselves together would only make us a resentful couple. Uncle Lu, thank you for being willing to keep the promise you made with my parents and letting Bo marry me, but we really aren't suited for each other. I can't afford to marry into the Lu family. I'll pack my things and leave now." With that, I turned and entered the house. After gathering a few of my clothes, I left the Lu residence. After my parents passed away, I was the only one left in the family. That's why I didn't ask for any dowry when I married Bo Lu. When I first came to the city to seek refuge with the Lu family, I only brought a few clothes with me, and now I'm leaving with just a few clothes. It's quite convenient. As I stepped out of the courtyard gate, Liu Tsuefeng grabbed my arm and said, "No, you can't leave. If you go, who will help me with the housework?" Since I came to the city 6 months ago to seek refuge with the Lu family, Liu Tsuefeng has naturally stopped doing any household chores. The weather is quite cold now. She's even more reluctant to touch cold water for cooking or laundry. No wonder she's clinging to me so tightly. Unfortunately, in this lifetime, I refuse to be their Lu family's free nanny anymore. I pulled Liu Tsuefeng's hand away and pointed at Lena Lin, who had just arrived behind her with Bo Lu. "Auntie Liu, didn't you say I was uncultured and ill-mannered, unworthy of being your daughter-in-law? Look behind you. Your well-mannered, cultured ideal daughter-in-law has arrived. Don't let her slip away this time." Seeing Lena Lin, Liu Tsuefeng's eyes lit up. "Lena, what brings you here?" Lena Lin replied with a shy look in her eyes. "I heard Bo and sister Myra got divorced, so I came to try and talk some sense into them." Liu Tsuefeng sneered. "Good riddance. What's there to talk about? You educated folks are just too kind, not like some country girls who are so good at putting on an act. I thought she was decent, but who knew she could be so mean and petty? She's not even worth one of your fingers." Hearing Liu Tsuefeng's words, I noticed a faint hint of smugness in Lena Lin's eyes. Bo Lu looked at me with an unreadable expression. "You're leaving already. Where are you planning to go?" Before I could speak, Liu Tsuefeng interrupted. "Who cares where she goes? Such a rude thing. It'd be better if she died out there. What are you still doing standing outside? Bo, hurry up and bring Lena in to sit down." Liu Tsuefeng warmly invited Lena Lin to come inside and sit, then she scolded me. "Why haven't you left yet? It's too late for regrets now. I won't let Bo be with you again." Seeing her like this, I initially wanted to kindly warn her and Mr. Lu to avoid going out unnecessarily in the coming days, but now I no longer feel like saying it. Let go of the urge to help others and respect their fate. I grabbed my bundle and slipped out of the alley, stepping toward my new life. I had already decided where to go. In my past life, I knew Bo Lu looked down on me for being uneducated, a country bumpkin from the rural areas. So I used all my spare time to desperately study academic subjects. I completed all the high school curriculum in night school and even planned to take the college entrance exam. But just before my college entrance exams, Bo Lu's parents were in a serious car accident and became paralyzed, needing constant care. To take care of them, I had no choice but to give up on my own dreams. No one can stop me from achieving my dreams now. With the $10 I saved from odd jobs, I rented a place near the night school. During the day, I sold melon seeds, popsicles, and Arctic Ocean sodas in front of the movie theater. At night, I studied like crazy at the night school. Truth be told, even while taking care of Bo Lu's parents in my past life, I never gave up on studying. I particularly enjoyed English and mathematics, so attending night school wasn't difficult for me at all. Now, I'm just waiting for the college entrance exam in 6 months. My days are getting better and better. People nowadays are still shy about doing business, so I have very little competition. I set up a stall in front of the movie theater, which is pretty much the only one of its kind. In this era when most people's wages are only a few dozen yuan, I earn 10 to 20 every day. Watching the money in my pocket grow, I finally understood why Bo Lu was willing to quit his secure government job to start a business in my past life. Running a business is truly lucrative. I just don't know if, with my unexpected presence in this lifetime, Bo Lu and Lena Lin have gone into business with that conman brother Huang. Soon, I got my answer, that day. I was doing business in front of the movie theater when I suddenly heard a familiar voice. Sister Myra, why are you setting up a stall here? I looked up to see that the person buying my Arctic Ocean soda was none other than Lena Lynn in her white dress. She stared at me in astonishment. Sister Myra, I thought you'd gone back to your hometown. I never expected to find you running a stall here. You must be having a hard time now, resorting to making a living here. How much can you even earn? A popsicle only costs 5 cents. How about joining Bo and me in selling clothes? We're actually short a salesperson right now. Only after Lena Lynn finished speaking did I notice Bo Lu and that Huang guy following behind her. Seems like without me. Bo Lu did end up doing business with Huang in this lifetime after all. Bo Lu frowned when he saw me and said, "What are you doing working here? It's downright embarrassing." His words caught me off guard. I truly didn't expect Bo Lu to be so narrow-minded. I always thought he was different from ordinary people. In this era, those who dare to quit their iron rice bowl and plunge into the business world must possess extraordinary courage and vision. Who would have thought his words could be so narrow-minded? It's hard to imagine how he achieved success in his past life. Could it be that he was just a pig lifted by the wind? I said calmly, "I don't steal or rob, I earn money with my own hands. How is that shameful?" Bo Lu was left speechless by my remark. He raised his head and sneered at me. "After just a few days apart, you've become so sharp-tongued. It seems someone's true nature has finally been revealed, Lena. There's no need to kindly introduce certain people to us. We can't afford such a rude waitress." Brother Huang nodded beside him. Right. The waiter must be polite. This one is too fierce. Can't use them. Don't let such ill-mannered people drag down your clothing store in the end. That wouldn't be good. I was almost amused by their anger. They're really too self-righteous. Did I ever say I wanted to be a waiter? Being a waiter doesn't earn as much as running your own business. And they act like they're doing you a favor. I've had enough of this. I couldn't be bothered with him and said to Lena Lynn, "1 Arctic Ocean soda for 15 cents. Please." Lena Lynn took out 20 cents and handed it to me. "Take it, no need for change." I took out 5 cents to give back to Lena Lynn. "No need. You need the money for your business now." Seeing the money I handed over, Lena Lynn raised the corners of her eyes slightly and then smiled. "Since Sister Myra doesn't need it, I'll take it back then. Bo talks like that, but he has a good heart. Don't take it to heart. Also, we're getting married next month. If you have time, come join us for the celebration." They're really getting married. Hearing this, I felt surprisingly calm inside. Bo Lu frowned even deeper upon hearing Lena Lynn tell me this. "Why would you tell her that, Lena? If she really comes, it'll just bring bad luck." Hearing this, Lena Lynn quickly cooed in protest. "Bo, how can you say that? Sister Myra will be heartbroken." Bo Lu shot me a dark glare but said nothing more. I smiled and said, "Bo Lu is right. My coming would only bring bad luck, Lena Lynn. I wish you both a happy marriage in advance, and I won't be attending the wedding banquet." Hearing my words, Lena Lynn's face lit up with joy. Her purpose for coming here today has been achieved. After exchanging a few more words, she left with Bo Lu and the others. I watched their retreating figures and calculated the time. Huang's true colors are probably about to be revealed. I hope he doesn't act too quickly. They mustn't let this delay their wedding. I really want to know if these two people will still be as close as they were in their past life after finding out they've been deceived. Time flew by quickly. I earned more and more money. Not just by selling snacks like melon seeds in front of the cinema, I also noticed the current trend of young people admiring movie stars. So I stocked up on photos and posters of them to sell as well. With this move, my business has improved even more. I counted my little savings stash at night. Unbelievable. It's already up to 200 yuan. Just a little more effort, and I'll be a 10,000 yuan household. Looking at so much money, I almost cried with joy. In my past life, I was a free maid for the Lu family, never carrying more than 200 yuan on me. Even though Bo Lu became a big boss, he never gave me much money. It seems in their eyes, I'm just a tool who doesn't need to buy anything, doesn't need to shop, a person with no desires at all. But I'm a living, breathing human being too. Now I've earned so much money with my own 2 hands, and there will be even more in the future. I can finally go buy the things I like. On the weekend, I made plans with my night school classmate Ju Qian to go shopping for clothes together. She's my deskmate and also a straightforward girl. We get along very well. Ju Qian held my hand excitedly and said, Myra, you must buy a few more dresses later. With such a great figure, it would be a waste not to wear dresses. I touched the bulging wallet at my waist and nodded. All right, I'll listen to you. At that time, the place where everyone bought clothes was still the department store. However, the clothes in the department store were always the same few styles over and over again. Nothing new, not very popular among young girls, however. On the way to the department store, we saw a clothing shop with booming business. It was packed with people, crowded to the brim. The clothes displayed in the store are all the latest trends, denim outfits, bell-bottom pants, and various floral dresses. Wow! Is this the Golden Phoenix clothing store that's been all the rage lately? Ju Qian exclaimed cheerfully. Myra, let's go take a look too. Before I could answer, Ju Qian pulled me into the store. Then I ran straight into my former mother-in-law, Liu Cuifang. At first she was stunned to see me, then she raised her voice. What are you doing here? Can you even afford the clothes here? Get out, don't take up our space. Can't you see how crowded we are? Yes. The Golden Phoenix clothing store was the one opened by Bo Lu and his team. However, because of their collaboration with Brother Huang, they opened the shop more than half a year earlier than in their previous life. Ju Qian was furious upon hearing Liu Cuifang's words. How dare you look down on people like that? You didn't even mention the price. How do you know we can't afford it? Liu Cuifang raised her eyebrows disdainfully. Others I might not know, but her, I know all too well, a country girl like her. How much could she possibly earn working outside? A single denim jacket here costs dozens of yuan. Do you really think someone like her can afford my clothes? I found it amusing. She still thought I was the old Myra Yi. Now, I could easily afford any piece of clothing in her store, but I wouldn't buy a thing. These will fade and unravel within a week after buying them. What's the point of buying clothes that shrink and deform after one wash? Just let her show off for a few more days. Once everyone realizes their clothes are defective, their good days will be over. Ju Qian was furious. What's wrong with being a country girl? If you trace back 3 generations of your ancestors, weren't they rural folks too? How dare you look down on farmers? I wouldn't even want to come to a shop owned by someone like you. Liu Cuifang scoffed. What a bunch of uncultured trash. Even the friends you make are ill-mannered, not like my current daughter-in-law. Our Lena is so virtuous. She's the one who helped our beau open this shop. Look how well our shop is doing. We make a fortune every day. You must be green with envy by now. Liu Cuifang looked at me smugly, as if trying to detect regret and envy on my face. Unfortunately, I didn't regret it at all, nor was I envious, after all. Who would envy an unlucky fellow? Lena Lin noticed the commotion on our side and pulled Bo Lu over. Sister Myra, you came to support us too, Lena Lin giggled, her face brimming with smug satisfaction. However, the items in our store are a bit pricey. Perhaps beyond what you can afford. Bo Lu looked me up and down with a sour expression, saying, Myra Yi, we're not on the same path anymore. Don't disturb our lives in the future. The clothes here are indeed beyond your means. Lena Lin patted Bo Lu. Don't say that. Give Sister Myra some face. Her friend is right beside her. Ju Qian spat upon hearing herself mentioned. What kind of green tea bitch is this? So damn unlucky. Myra, let's go. Even if we have money, we won't waste it on people like you. Liu Cuifang laughed and said, hurry up and leave. Don't waste my time making money, you paupers. After leaving, Ju Qian kept cursing on my behalf. Especially after she found out Bo Lu was the ex-husband I'd mentioned to her before. She hurled every curse word she could think of at Bo Lu. I'm so angry. This family is disgusting. Myra, how come you're not mad? I smiled faintly. What's there to be angry about? I don't care about this family at all now. Getting angry with them would just ruin my mood. Qian, we went out today to have fun shopping. Let's not let these people spoil our mood. Ju Qian looked at me seriously, then suddenly burst into laughter. As expected of you, Comrade Myra, your awareness is quite high, isn't it? Right, we shouldn't let these lowlifes who look down on others ruin our mood. Come on, let's go shopping. We were about to head to the department store when we suddenly noticed a small, inconspicuous clothing shop across from Golden Phoenix. Ju Qian and I walked in to take a look. The shop may be small, but the clothes inside are quite nice. Not only are there denim jackets, but also various floral dresses in different colors. The styles are no worse than those at Golden Phoenix. However, the place is practically deserted. a stark contrast to the bustling business at Golden Phoenix. The person buying clothes was a young man wearing glasses, who greeted us warmly when he saw us. "Feel free to try on any clothes you like, both of you," I asked in confusion. "Boss, your products are pretty much the same, so why is the business here so much worse than across the street?" The man scratched his head helplessly and said, "That's exactly the problem. They're almost the same. Compared to the shop across the street, my stuff is just too expensive. But miss, to be honest with you, the wholesale price of these clothes is already very high. Add in shipping costs and storefront rent, I'm barely breaking even at this price. I really don't know where the shop across the street gets their supply from. They can sell so cheaply and still make a profit. I'm practically losing money here." The man sighed heavily and said, "See if there's anything you need. I plan to close up after today. I just can't keep going anymore. If I don't shut down now, I won't even be able to afford the rent." I ran my hand over the clothes on the shelves. Each piece was of good quality. It would be such a shame to close the door. After all, if we hold on for just a few more days, the Golden Phoenix will probably go bankrupt. Suddenly, a wild idea struck me. "Boss, maybe you don't have to close. We could collaborate and run the shop together." The man abruptly looked up. "Collaborate and run the shop? Are you serious, miss? I'm so deep in losses I'm about to jump into the river, and you dare to partner with me?" I ran my fingers over the high-quality floral dress in my hand and said, "I'm serious. Your products are well made, and the supply chain is solid. I can provide the funding to keep this store running." Thinking of those exquisitely decorated women's clothing stores in shopping malls from my past life, I added, "Maybe we could even give this shop a makeover." The man was skeptical at first, but when I pulled out a thick stack of cash, he was convinced. We agreed to collaborate on running the store and, after discussion, decided to each hold a 50% stake. Ju Qian stood by, dumbfounded, and when she saw us actually start drafting the contract and discussing the collaboration seriously, she joined in as well. "Don't forget about me. I want in too." Ju Qian's father is the director of the Industry and Commerce Bureau, and her mother is the deputy manager of the department store. With her on board, getting permits and handling paperwork for our future store will be a breeze. It's rare for her to show interest, so I wholeheartedly approve of her joining. Ju Qian didn't invest much and refused to take a larger share. In the end, she took 20% of the shares, while the man and I each took 40%. It wasn't until we were drafting the formal contract that I realized I didn't even know this person's name. "Sorry, I got too excited just now and forgot to introduce myself. My name is Bai Chenggong. Your name is Bai Chenggong. Is your home in Huaihua Alley?" Bai Chenggong nodded. "Right, Comrade Myra. Do you know me?" I shook my head, then nodded. I was all too familiar with the name Bai Chenggong in my past life. He is even more successful than Bolu and is Bolu's arch-nemesis. Bolu hated him to the core, but unfortunately, he wasn't as capable as the other guy and couldn't take him down. All he can do is watch helplessly as the other becomes a regional tycoon. I really don't know what to say. I never expected that by randomly choosing someone to collaborate with, I'd end up picking Bolu's arch-nemesis, still the future richest person. It seems that after leaving that unlucky Lu family, my luck has truly improved. After drafting the contract, the three of us began to seriously focus on our business. Ju Qian is responsible for handling the paperwork and helping with purchases. I'm responsible for paying and planning the renovation. When our side started the bustling renovation, the Golden Phoenix across the street indeed began to face misfortune. Customers who bought their clothes at high prices later found that the garments would deform, shrink, unravel, or fade after just a few days of wear. Countless people rushed to their store demanding refunds. Bai Chenggong felt extremely fortunate upon seeing this scene. No wonder their products were so much cheaper than ours. Turns out they're defective goods. Luckily, Myra, you didn't make me shut down the shop, otherwise, it would have been such a loss. With Golden Phoenix collapsing, I feel like our money-making days are about to begin. I nodded slightly. Yes, the day we make money is coming, soon after. The relevant authorities received a tip-off and shut down Golden Phoenix. On the day the authorities came to seal the place, Liu Tsuefeng lay on the ground crying and wailing, throwing all kinds of tantrums, but even this couldn't stop the fate of closure. I stood in front of the newly renovated shop, watching Liu Tsuefeng grabbing Lena Lin and hitting her. She cursed her as a jinx, saying that if it weren't for her instigation, Her son wouldn't have quit his secure job at the machinery factory and risked everything to do business with that fraudster, Brother Huang. The batch of counterfeit goods Brother Huang gave them had ruined them completely. Just a few days ago, Lena Lin was basking in the spring breeze of success, but now she's in tears, desperately hiding behind Bo Lu. But as I watched coldly, I realized Bo Lu wasn't shielding Lena Lin at all. At times, he even deliberately held Lena Lin in place for his mother to hit. I couldn't help but laugh from across the way. These two, who were supposedly devoted to each other in their past life, turned out like this when interests were at stake. When disaster strikes, everyone flees for themselves. The day the Golden Phoenix completely shut its doors, our Red Rose clothing store is now officially open. I decorated the clothing store to resemble the high-end mall from my past life. This kind of decor is something women love at first sight. The business was naturally booming. Liu Xuefang and Bo Lu came to collect the last few items from the shop. Lena Lin gazed enviously at the freshly arranged red roses. This shop is truly beautiful. Bo, if we haven't misplaced our trust, our second store will definitely be no worse than theirs. Bo Lu remained silent, his face dark. Liu Xuefang snorted and said, with your jinx-like luck, you still dream of getting rich. We've lost our life savings this time. If you ever mention doing business again in this lifetime, I'll break your legs. Lena Lin, humiliated in public, began to look tearful again. Liu Xuefang was about to scold Lena Lin a few more times when she suddenly noticed me standing at the entrance of the clothing store to greet customers. She walked over and sneered. I never thought you'd end up working as a waitress here. How embarrassing. Zhu Qian, standing beside me, immediately fired back with words as rapid as a machine gun upon hearing this. Oh, isn't this the poor family from across the street that just went out of business? Even when you're down on your luck, you still have the nerve to laugh at others. Liu Xuefang snorted and said arrogantly, so what if we're down on our luck? At least we were bosses for a few days. Unlike you two who'll be waitresses your whole lives. Zhu Qian covered her mouth as she laughed. Waiters? Haha, you think we're waiters? Open your damn eyes and see. Myra and I are the owners of this shop. These red roses are all ours. What? Three voices filled with disbelief rang out. Bo Lu and Lena Lin stared at me with wide eyes. Bo Lu looked at me in shock and said, Myra Yi, you're really the owner of this shop? I nodded. Yes, this shop is mine. Lena Lin's sharp voice rang out. Impossible. Even Bo and I, the Golden Phoenixes, don't have it this good. How could you possibly run such a fine red rose? I smiled faintly and replied, perhaps because I never judge people by their appearances. Lena Lin's face instantly turned pale. Bo Lu's gaze at me was unfocused, as if lost in thought, but I no longer cared about what he was thinking. There were many customers in the shop, and I had to go in to attend to them. After all, I'm someone who's going to make a lot of money. Watching my retreating figure, Liu Xuefang spat and said, how could a country girl like her open such a big shop? Who knows how she managed it? So disgusting. Lena Lin followed Liu Xuefang in spitting disdainfully. Bo Lu stood to the side without saying a word. The look in his eyes that used to carry a hint of disdain whenever he saw Myra Yi had, without him realizing it, completely disappeared. The Red Rose business was thriving. But since Zhu Qian and I still had to study, we couldn't go over to help often. So Bai Chenggong hired a few more waiters. In the blink of an eye, Zhu Qian and I reached the day of the college entrance exams. When I stepped out of the examination hall, I took a long breath looking at the clear blue sky. I did well in all 4 subjects, especially in math and English. I know, this time I've got it in the bag. I'm definitely going to get into a good university. Zhu Qian came bouncing over, wrapped her arms around me, and said, Myra, I think I did pretty well on the test too. It's all thanks to you tutoring me in English. I'm sure I can get into a university this time and show my parents. If that's the case, that would be truly wonderful. In this lifetime, I've not only realized my own dreams but also been able to help my friends. This is really so joyful. After finishing the college entrance exams, Zhu Qian and I finally had time to help out at the Red Rose. Now both Zhu Qian and I are small-scale 10,000 yuan households. We plan to stay together even when we go to university. Then we'll start a business together. Hearing this, Bai Chenggong also eagerly expressed his desire to join in. You can't leave me behind. We're the Iron Triangle. We do everything together. I nodded with a smile. All right, we'll take you along. Bai Chenggong really has a knack for business. Besides, Zhu Qian and I didn't have much time to personally manage the business while attending university. Taking this future tycoon with us, we're not losing out. Life is getting more comfortable day by day, yet some people just can't stand to see you doing well. One morning when I got up, I planned to open the door at Red Rose. Before I could get close, I heard the frantic voices of Zhu Qian and Bai Chenggong. Which bastard did this? If I find out, I'll make sure they regret it. I hurried to the shop entrance and saw that our door had been splattered with feces, while the walls and door were covered in all kinds of vile insults. I was shaking with rage. Zhu Qian grabbed my hand. Myra, don't look, they're just jealous of you. It must have something to do with that evil ex-mother-in-law of yours. I squeezed Zhu Qian's hand in return. I know, it couldn't be anyone else but her, which is exactly why I won't let her off the hook. I called the police. Zhu Qian's uncle is the chief of police. Upon hearing that someone was maliciously targeting his niece's shop, he immediately sent people to investigate. In less than 3 days, he brought witnesses and invited Wang Tsuefang to the police station. I refused mediation, and Wang Tsuefang was to be detained for 15 days. Bo Lu, with reddened eyes, begged me to spare his mother. Myra, a day as husband and wife brings 100 days of kindness. Can't you forgive her just this once? Remembering the harsh words he had said to me in my past life, I sneered coldly. There's no kindness between you and me, and I owe her nothing. Going to jail is what she deserves. Liu Tsuefang immediately started wailing at the top of her lungs when she heard me say that. You shameless slut. Did I say anything wrong? If you weren't doing shady business, how could you afford to open such a fancy shop? What right does a country bumpkin like you have? I raised my eyes and gave a cold smile. Keep cursing. Go ahead and slander me all you want. I don't mind making you stay in there a few more days. Better yet, rot in jail for life. Liu Tsuefang was startled by me. She immediately fell silent. She finally realized that I was no longer the meek little wife she could push around. Bo Lu looked at me with deep, heavy eyes. Myra Yi, you seem different. I glanced at the unshaven Bo Lu and smiled. Really, you've changed too. It's true. Things have changed. This lifetime no longer has me in it. He doesn't seem to have gotten any better either. In fact, he's doing even worse than in his previous life. I heard about the Lu family again from Zhu Qian's mouth. Did you know that annoying ex-mother-in-law of yours is paralyzed? No, it should be that the old couple became paralyzed together. I asked curiously, was it a traffic accident? Zhu Qian shook her head. Yes and no. I thought Golden Phoenix went bankrupt. I heard their daughter-in-law Lena Lin still wanted to do business. But Liu Tsuefang disagreed and kept beating and tormenting her every day. Even your ex-husband didn't stand up for her. Lena Lin finally couldn't take it anymore. She took the last bit of their family's money and said she was going to Shenzhen to start a business. But when she tried to sneak away, Liu Tsuefang and her husband caught her. They chased her onto the road, where Lena Lin pushed them into the middle of the street, just in time for a truck to come barreling toward them. Both were left paralyzed from the crash. So that's how it is. I thought they had avoided disaster before the college entrance exams, that they had somehow dodged this calamity in their lives, but in the end, they still ended up paralyzed, all thanks to their wonderful daughter-in-law, Lena Lin. Now, Lena Lin probably won't be able to go to Shenzhen to do business anymore. With Bo Lu's blind filial piety, she'll be stuck taking care of them for the rest of her life. A month later, the college entrance exam results came out. I did well on the exam, and so did Zhu Qian. Both Zhu Qian and I applied to universities in Shanghai. This is the future international metropolis, brimming with endless opportunities. I'm going there to seize every single one of those opportunities. When the admission letter arrived, Zhu Qian and I were sitting in the Red Rose shop, brainstorming plans with Bai Chenggong to start a renovation company. Houses will be everywhere in the future. Apart from real estate, the most thriving industry will be renovation companies. Our Red Rose is a perfect example. Many people are now asking us to help them decorate their shops. This is the next great business opportunity. I was holding the red admission letter, discussing store location options with Zhu Qian when Bo Lu suddenly appeared before me, pushing his paralyzed parents in wheelchairs. Bo Lu, with reddened eyes, said, "Myra, I'm the one who wronged you. Can you come back?" I was stunned. What do you mean? Bo Lu hadn't even spoken yet when Liu Tsuefang started crying. Myra, I've realized you're still the best. that Lena Lynn is just a spoiled city girl. She doesn't know how to take care of people at all. Bo's dad and I are in such a miserable state, and she can't even cook. I've already sent her away. Come back and be our daughter-in-law again. Since you left, our family has been getting worse by the day. You're truly our lucky star. Please, I beg you. Come back and take care of us again. You're the only daughter-in-law I recognize. Bolu also looked at me sincerely. Myra, come back. I've only just realized now that you're the only one I love. I was both amused and exasperated by this family. Get lost. I'm not coming back to be your free maid. Liu Tsuefang glared with her triangular eyes and said, how can you talk like that? Myra, a divorced woman can't find a good family. Especially a country girl like you. Uneducated and lacking refinement. Even if you have a bit of money, people will still look down on you. You should be grateful that our Bo doesn't reject you. Hurry back and continue living with our Bo. I picked up my Fudan University admission letter and flung it in front of them. Take a look. I'm a college student and also the owner of this shop. I have money, education, and good looks. I don't need your concern. Dream on if you think I'll go back to being your unpaid servant and workhorse. Get lost. Bolu pushed his parents away, their faces ashen with defeat. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't understand how I had become like this after our divorce. It was like being reborn. I watched Bolu's retreating figure and smiled faintly. The person I once looked up to in my past life now has to look up to me. How nice. Once September arrived, Ju Qian and I went off to university. We continued doing business with Bai Chenggong at the university. We started a renovation company and also ventured into the real estate industry. Our earnings grew steadily, and branch offices were established across the country. As for Bolu and the others, it's said they brought Lena Lynn back after all. With both parents bedridden and paralyzed, finding another wife would be even harder. Bolu and Lena Lynn didn't go back into business. Taking care of two bedridden elderly people left them physically and mentally exhausted, let alone pursuing any career. As for me, riding the tailwind of the era, I stayed with Ju Qian and Bai Chenggong, making a fortune. As the new millennium approached, I finally became the richest person in the country. And Bai Chenggong officially proposed to me that day. I shook my head at the large diamond ring in his hand. I turned him down. He was wonderful, but I no longer wanted to get married. How happy is the life of a wealthy single woman? Why confine oneself to marriage again? In this lifetime, I just want to live well on my own.